Well, hi, I'm Robert Knoll. Welcome to the Guitar Zone. This is lesson number 53. I'm calling this lesson number 53, and I'm not saying that it is of weekly lessons because I've advertised this series as 53 weekly guitar lessons, but I know that that's not possible. I've actually known that since the very beginning that I started this series, that not everyone would spend just 1 week on these lessons, and it really was not intended to be. So I do want to address that because some people that would have started my weekly guitar series would maybe start off with good intentions of doing a week, but it might take 2 weeks. It might be bi-weekly. So this whole series of a weekly lesson for a year could mean 2 years. It might mean every 3 weeks you go to the next lesson. A month is kind of pushing a little bit. I would rather see students be a little more timely than taking a month to complete each lesson. Some students will do it in a week. Some students come not just as beginning students, but they've already been playing. Maybe they're even intermediate or professional. They just want to go over beginning stuff, refresh themselves. So there's no rule here. You can jump around through the lessons. You may work on the first few and go, okay, and maybe you spend more time on a selected group. Maybe it's on lessons number 10 through 15, or 15 through 20, or 20 through 25. Or maybe it's just one lesson. You kind of get into this one and you bounce around, you jump around a little. That's fine too. There's no exact way to go through my lessons. Because at the Guitar Zone, you can type in whatever you're interested in working on. And if it happens to be Form 1 scales or rhythms, or it might be major scales or blues scales, you can type that in the search and it should take you to not only the videos, but you should be able to see charts that I posted and maybe other stuff. At some point, there will be podcasts that might involve some of the things with the lessons. But my idea of the 53 lessons to have an order for a beginning student. And I start off by talking about just guitars and what the guitar is, the parts and tuning and the very first chromatic scale, learning notes and why that's important. So I go through a lot of fundamentals. I'm building a foundation, and that's what is important about the lessons in order, in succession, because they build upon the knowledge, the basic knowledge that would be required of a beginning student or someone just wanting to go from the beginning and refresh themselves. You may have been one of my students, maybe a long time ago, maybe 40 years ago, or maybe currently you're a student. And these videos can be useful for you to refresh yourself and actually have me showing you again what we've talked about in our remote lessons or personal lessons. So it's a great tool. And I'm hoping that as I move on with other lessons, I have so much more planned for the Guitar Zone that some of these lessons of the 53, I might redo some of them. I might go back, or some of my students, you may go, hey, what did you do in lesson number 13 or number 17 is really, you need to change that. Well, I'm listening to you. So when you give me a comment or send me an email and saying, hey, could, check that out. Maybe it's something about me. But anyways, I hope these lessons have been informative. That's what this lesson 53 is about. I've gone through basic scales, fundamentals. I've talked about learning notes, learning intervals, quizzing yourself, the importance of learning the geography, the landscape of the fretboard. I've gone through some types of chords and types of strumming rhythms. I think I've covered quite a bit. 52 lessons, right? 52 weeks in a year, right? It was an accomplishment. I may go back on certain ones, and some of them I may add some notes to some charts I might add to help to make them better. So I might put some links on there so that you can easily do searches on the Guitar Zone so that you can find the charts and scales and links easily as possible. So there is some tweaking I'm sure I'm going to be doing. There's no set way to use all of these videos. If you do them every week and can do that type of thing, I think that's great. That's really how I put them together. It might be bi-weekly. Or it may be just like I said, you may look at certain ones and go, well, I've already done this and, I need to skip. Oh, I found at lesson 23 or 33 or 35 that, hey, this is where I really need to review these forms or these scales that Robert was teaching in these lessons. So that's the idea of these 53 weekly beginning lessons. They're really just lessons, okay? But if you're a beginner and you can regiment yourself and get your practice routine to where you can really have the time and do these week by week on a weekly basis, that might have some benefits to it. Your routine, your practice routine means so much. It changes all the time. There's psychology to it, neurology, how our brain works, and our lives are complicated. Sometimes emergencies, things come up where we don't get the practice. But if we look at it sometimes in different perspectives, like maybe this guitar class is like a college class or a school class that you're going to, and you've got to have your homework done every day, every week. Now, when you get regimented to that can be beneficial. That you are programming your practice routine. And that may be several times during the day, one big long session every day. I kind of recommend that if you can do a morning before you head out and do things in your life, whatever you do, and do it at the end of the day, I think that's kind of a great way to practice because you are focusing on refreshing yourself and going over and reviewing what you practice. If you can easily get sidetracked and then you're really just kind of fiddling around, diddle-daddle, doing googly-moogly stuff that's really not going to help you. You need to be focused on what you should be practicing. And I hope that these lessons that I've developed kind of show you that in a manner. This is what you should focus on mostly this week, but not everything. I've stated before and in lectures that lessons is part of your learning guitar or being a musician. The other part of it is maybe learning songs, working on your ear training, doing other searches. I recommend the Guitar Zone links that there are other teachers out there that are really good at teaching you basic songs, Beatles songs, rock and roll songs, pop songs, whatever style. There are a lot of teachers out there. Some are very good, some are okay, and some really shouldn't be posting. I do see a lot like that. But I've tried to put links in there of some videos that I've looked at that I recommend to my students, and you should use those. So beside your weekly lesson and going through these lessons that I've made for you and hope you go through, there's the other stuff. With my current students, I say, well, this is kind of your other secret missions that you're doing. You're working on some other songs that maybe you're going to surprise me with, or you're going to bring up at some point. You're working on another style. You're working on some modes or other types of scales, some cultural scales. It could be anything. Or you're working on discovering other chords that I haven't even talked about. You've got a chord dictionary, some chord charts that you're really exploring some other chords. Or you found another site that helps you with your ear training and learning your intervals. I'm not the only one that teaches. I'm just in this hippie pad, and I think I have a persona and character that's different than all the other teachers out there. I'm sure I probably look a little different than most of the teachers out there. And I like the comfort of my place. I don't so much like the sterile zones that it looks like you're taking guitar in a hospital room or in the typical guitar studio room, which is okay, but I like my hippie pad, and the comfort, and we can kick back and get mellow and relax. That's the psychology behind the comfort zone that I learned, and I get from being the way I am, okay? My hippieisms, or whatever you want to call it, okay? It works for me, and I think I've seen it work for other students, that we have a relaxed, artsy feel here, a creative zone with our Guitar Zone. And I hope to talk more about these things in videos to come, more about the psychology, neurology, what we look for with positive learning, and what can happen, what can fail us, what to look out for. So I like to talk about all these. These are interesting things, and how we can learn to learn better, how we can absorb, how we can work on our memorizing, how we can tweak things in, tweak in our techniques, our skills, get our ear to hear better, to hear intervals, to hear chords, to learn songs quicker by not even having the music, just by listening. Or you hear something, or you come up with a little melody in your head, and you're able to find a key and find some chords to put around it and write a song just by your environment, where you're doing, what you're doing, where you're at, where you happen to be. I'm trying to, with the way I teach, be creative, to inspire you to open up and be open to a lot of ways of learning and the possibilities. I like to say it, and you've heard me say it before, we're on a guitar or a music journey. We're on an adventure. We want to make it fun. We sometimes want to laugh at ourselves and have some humor. That helps sometimes when the chips are down and it's not going exactly your way. It doesn't do good to get down and depressed, and we don't want to go that way. We want to keep ourselves out of that. We want to learn to do that. I'm always open, to hear suggestions. And like I said, in the future, there will be some more lectures, and I'm hoping for the podcast to address a lot of these issues and being able to explain what I've learned and what the possibilities are. We're always learning more. Science. I say the science of guitar. I love that word, science of guitar. It's great playing. I love playing. I love jamming. I've enjoyed playing in front of people and working with songs. To me, it's my healing. I do my own healing with that. And I think I've learned to heal others with my music. They've told me so. So I'm very into that. I've learned the power of music, what the possibilities are. And I happen to channel everything through my guitar. I want to have the heart, the mind, all my psychology, everything I know and feel, my emotions, my moods, channel to this, channel to my songs. And maybe it's storytelling. Maybe my lyrics or what I'm doing, telling stories. I learned that from Albert Collins. I plan on doing and continuing with my blues instruction, because that's a forte for me, because I actually was on the road with the legends. And I was fortunate to have learned some very special lessons that couldn't have been taught to me any other way. Sometimes I learned the hard way. I'm sure we all do sometimes. It's not the easy way. We learn the hard way. We go through, we kind of navigate around, and we finally find our path. So that's another word I like to use, the path that we're on. Sometimes we have to change the path. We go down a path for a while and we're not getting what we want out of the path. Well, we have to vary off the path, maybe come back to it later, but go down another path and see how that works. We got to test it, because we want to make discoveries with our music, with learning, with memorizing, with being able to improvise with our ear, training our ear, hearing music, playing music better with other musicians. What about having a band, or playing with just another artist or a singer, or different instruments? These are challenges. They all can be learned. It depends on your learning environment and how much you want to be successful. I always say, where there's a will, there's a way. I found that to be true. 53, this is 53, and I'm just so glad that you're at the Guitar Zone. You're learning to use the Guitar Zone Patreon site, and you're learning to navigate it, I hope. That's really important. So once again, those words, journey. We're on a journey. We're on an adventure. We're on a mission. We're going down paths. We're into the guitar science. We're studying. We're learning. We're opening doors. Wow. Yes, opening doors. And when you learn these things about music and become a better musician, guitarist, whatever your goals are, the great thing I found in now moving into the twilight of my life is that I can share this. I found a way here with the Guitar Zone. I'm teaching you something that can go on through your whole life and that you can share with people you care about and that want to learn. I've had quite a few of my students throughout the years, they are now guitar teachers. And quite a few of my students have gone on to play in bands and have bands and play gigs, and students that write songs. Leave it for another lecture, but early on in my middle years of teaching, I taught some people that were really already successful in the music business, and they've gone on to do things, and I was able to help them find their way. And we have to find our way. It just doesn't come. It just doesn't happen. It depends on our environment, our learning environment, and what we really care about. Do you really want to learn? Do you really want to play like this person? Do you really want to have your own style? Wow. All these things are possible. I guarantee it. But you have to get focused. So, my lecture to you, number 53, that number, I guess, you can do anything. Anything's possible. Don't close the doors. Keep them open. Try to open more doors. When you go down a path that isn't producing, give it a chance. But maybe it's time to change. Maybe going on that path later will be productive for you. That's like some of these lessons. Some of these lessons might be way too much for you. Well, back off. Go to the easier lessons for a while. When you feel right about lesson 31, then you'll go to lesson 31 and you'll spend some time there, I want to stress on the Guitar Zone that when you do a search, you should search anything. Use any words to search, because I'm trying to make that better so that it will link you to other videos. And some of what might be the series of 53, but I've done videos on guitar riffs. I'm doing sensual guitar. I've got some secret guitar magic missions I'm going to be doing more of. Just kind of think about it and use some search words. If you need to get a hold of me, contact me and maybe I can help you find what you're looking for. I'm there for you. You're at the Guitar Zone. This is a great place for guitar players and musicians. You want to play, you want to get good, or you want to just get better. You want some more ideas. You're in a rut. If you're in a rut, we got to get out of the rut. Like I said, where there's a will, there's a way. That's my lecture. I love guitars. I love music. I love people. I love my students. I love teaching. I'd love you to move up into the tiers if you can. But this is lesson number 53. This ends that series for a weekly lesson for a year, if you do it that way. But I may expound on this. Maybe a lesson 54, maybe we'll continue somehow, There's a lot of possibilities yet, right? Whatever. Feel you can contact me. Just do it, okay? All right. All the best to you.